What's up, hip hop fans? Welcome to another edition of Hip Hop Head. My name is Julian Williams. This is going to be a review for the album Ambition by Wale. Came out from Maybach Music Group on Warner Brothers Records a couple days ago, November the 1st. Pretty much, it's an album by Wale's second album. It's the second album after the Interscope album that just sounded very, I guess, sounded kind of pop-like. It's a whole lot like the first album, Attention Deficit, had a different sound than Ambition. Usually with artists, when they hit the second album, in their first album, it was all, it was pretty, it was pretty good, groundbreaking. Then they don't. Sometimes, they hit this sophomore jinx. But I personally believe that Ambition is much better than Attention Deficit. First off, Interscope Records was not the record label for Wale, and it definitely was not the label due to the fact that Interscope has shown now that they don't know what to do with artists that have a passionate feel for music. So Interscope just wasn't a good fit. I think they offered Wale a lot of money, like $1 million, like $1 million. Like, I think it's like 1.3 mil for a record contract, and I think they had a lot of creative control over his music. And Wale is not really your typical mainstream artist. I mean, they kind of gave him a bit of the Charles Hamilton treatment, where I'm sure that a lot of stuff that he was releasing on his mixtapes are stuff that they wouldn't put on an album for him. So overall, they kind of had to give him the shaft, and he went over to the Maybach Music Group with Rick Ross, Meek Mill, and Pill around the same time earlier this year, which is actually a good move for Rick Ross and Wale, because Wale is now behind the rapper who is one of the top mainstream guys who can help him reach another level in hip hop, and quite possibly his album may go gold. In a few months, it's going to take him a while, but I think his album might go gold. So we'll see in the coming months how that goes. But to the album, Ambition, to me, I think with Wale is either you love him or you hate him, but you gotta respect him because the dude works hard. He's very creative, but he has kind of a monotone delivery. His monotone delivery is just kind of like, it's kind of like when you think of boxing, because a lot of people know I'm on YouTube doing boxing videos. It's kind of like that Joe Frazier thing, how his sound's kind of one-dimensional, but he has different little deliveries, to where it's like with Joe Frazier, when Joe Frazier would have to jab to get inside, a counter to get inside, and or when he got inside, he double up the left hook, or you go to the body, and those were like the only three things that he pretty much did, but he did them in different variations. That's kind of like Wale to me. Wale is kind of like that Joe Frazier of hip hop. He has kind of that same monotone sound, but he has kind of a different delivery and a different pitch to where he kind of approaches certain tracks a certain way. So going into the album, Don't Hold the Applause, was a great opening for the album. Very high energy, and most of Wale's songs are high energy. That pretty much just describes his style. He's very high energy, very original, quite creative. If you listen to the mixtapes, the mixtape About Nothing and More About Nothing, 11 Day 1, 11-1, 11 Theory, mixtapes like that, Back to the Future. These kind of mixtapes, he shows that he is creative, and he has a lot of energy behind what he's doing. And Don't Hold the Applause was a perfect intro for this album, Ambition. So Don't Hold the Applause, being the opening. Double M Genius was another good one. Legendary was another good track. Miami Nights was pretty good. A few other tracks. My favorite track on the album was actually Sabotage. I liked it. It was very smooth. It was a very smooth song. Very smooth delivery. It had Lloyd on it, and I personally don't like Lloyd all that much. Lloyd was on it. A few other good ones. I actually like No Days Off. Some people didn't really like that track. I like No Days Off. I liked his I like this track. Ill's Bitch was pretty good. I like produced by the business. I like Ill's Bitch. There were songs on mixtapes that I thought could have made the album, but it is what it is. Like the whole album was just high energy. It was a high energy album. You had the track with Kid Cudi, Focus. It was decent, but it sounded a little more filler than anything else because I think a lot of people were anticipating, a track kind of like that was similar to maybe a mixtape track with Kid Cudi and Wale, and thought that they would kind of go all out on that track. But it didn't seem as if they were going all out. It kind of seemed as if they were holding back a little bit on that one. Track with Neo was pretty good. Ambition was another good track with Rick Ross and Meek Mill. And as I mentioned before, I'm not much of a Rick Ross fan, but I'm becoming a little bit more of one as time progresses. I'm becoming more of a Rick Ross fan because I'm starting to, because like lyrically, if you listen to him, he's starting to get a little bit better lyrically, with the tracks that he's doing, and sometimes either you get the kind of that same Rick Ross flow, or he steps it up. And this one he steps it up, and I'm actually a fan of Meek Mill. I like Meek Mill's music. Meek Mill, has a very gritty sound to him, and I think that he somewhat complements, the other signings of Pill and Wale, the Maybach Music Group. That Way being the song off of the Self Made Volume 1 album. It's pretty good. I like That Way with Jeremiah and Rick Ross. And there's some tracks that I am forgetting, but I'm not mentioning because I'm doing everything just off the top of my head. But this album to me, I'm actually gonna give this album a 4.5 out of 5. 4.5 out of 5. Wale, Ambition, and there's a reason I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. Now, with Wale's sound, Wale is kind of a throwback to the older rappers of the 80s. Having a good time, rapping about having a good time, partying, love. He brings up different subject matters in this album. And the thing is, the album doesn't seem to, it would be a 0.5 better if the album actually did have a direction to it. But it didn't really have much of a direction to it, but it still sounded good. It still sounded good with all the tracks. His lyrics were well put together. I think he probably did them on the top of his head. There was not too many guest spots. We had Neo, we had Lloyd, Meek Mill, Rick Ross, Kid Cudi. But it's just like no extravagant, guest features, guest spots on the album. It's just Wale. Oh, and Big Sean was on with Slight Work, a high energy track. But overall, it wasn't any extravagant, features on the album. So pretty much the album didn't have much of a direction. It was Wale trying to showcase this time around his talent compared to the last album, Attention Deficit, which was okay. To me, I thought it was average. I thought that Attention Deficit was average, and this one is actually much better. It's not going to be what we call a hip hop classic in a matter of years. It's not. But Wale went and he showcased his talent. He showed that, he can compete with some of the best in the business. He's shown it on the mixtapes, and now he's shown it on the mainstream level. So I'm going to give this album 4.5 out of 5 because I think that Wale has actually done much better than most rappers have done, throughout the year. I think it's one of the. It's not a pop album. It's a strict hip hop album. That's what it is. It's a hip hop album, and you gotta be a hip hop fan to enjoy this one. And you can even be a pop fan to enjoy this one because Wale is original. It's an original album, and it shows his depth of ability. And I think that next album he has to show a lot more depth than what he's showing. What he's showing in this one. But he's shown a lot of depth. He's shown a lot of different dimensions to his game as an artist. So 4.5 out of 5. Anyway, peeps, I'm out of here. That was Hip Hop Head. Peace.